Hello, I'm Maria Hall Brown, and this is LA Currents. Well, anyone who has a child or even knows a child knows that darling little song, "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round." But guess what? The most important part is how the wheels on these buses go round and round. I'm delighted to be joined today by the General Manager of LA Department of Transportation, Seleta Reynolds. So much fun to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming out to our yard. We're very, very proud of it and really excited to show off the buses, and it's nice to be with you again.
Well, let's talk about the yard, because the yard is highly sophisticated, and obviously we're in downtown LA, so there's all kinds of activity. There's the freeway, there's helicopters going by, there's all kinds of stuff. But this yard itself has an incredible amount of interesting attributes.
It's very special, and it's our newest yard, and so when people talk about bringing electric buses onto a fleet, a lot of times they're thinking, you know, what's the big deal? Can't you just buy a bunch of new electric buses? But the thing that really is the challenge, where are you going to charge them? Where are you going to store them? And so it was really a multi-departmental effort. This facility in particular has solar panels that power the building, and then we've actually got chargers on site here. We have 13 of them. Our fleet has both compressed natural gas and EV buses.
Well, they're all sitting right here behind us, and they're pretty and shiny and new. So how many of them do you have now?
So we have about 29. And you might notice that we've changed the design of the bus as well.
They obviously have an environmental theme because they're green and blue, and I think we were appropriate.
We did.
In what we
matched.
Inadvertently,
you got the
perfect.
memo. I'm so relieved.
No, exactly. So what are some of the assets and the attributes? First of all, how long can it go? And you don't hear it, you do hear it, all those things you think about when you think of electric vehicles?
They're much quieter than the other buses in our fleet. And so having a quieter fleet is also about being quieter in neighborhoods, because Dash mostly serves the neighborhoods of Los Angeles. And it's about also being comfortable as a passenger when you're inside sort of a noisy bus and you're stressed out. It's not maybe the most pleasant ride, so having a quieter ride is really important. Because a combustion engine has so many more moving parts and an electric bus is much simpler, these buses are going to last longer. They're going to need less maintenance over time, and they're going to allow us to stretch all the investment in this fleet that we're making on behalf of our riders.
All right, I did sneak on the bus because I was curious, and the door was open, so you can't get mad at me. What other assets does a passenger get to enjoy on the bus?
So there's sensors and other things on the bus that give us real-time information about where it is, about how full it is, even about whether or not there is a bike on the bike rack in the front of the bus.
Oh, wow.
And so if you're sitting in your house or your apartment and you're trying to figure out when you should leave to get the bus, and you want to know how full it is and if you can bring your bike with you, you can go to LADOTbus.com, or you can text the code on the bus stop to the number there and get information about when it's going to be there and maybe how long you have to wait. And so our goal at LADOT has always been to treat the rider with hospitality, and we want to make them feel as though they're riding in dignity, they're riding in style when they're on the bus, and that extends to the seat layout and how the bus looks inside, and we've got the tinted windows so that it doesn't get hot in there, and a lot of other features in these buses that are really meant to make people feel comfortable. The most important thing about running a transit system is that you have to have great service. So one of the things that we noticed, for example, is that students are one of our largest cohorts of riders on LADOT transit. And so a few years ago, we made transit free for students in Los Angeles, whether you are in elementary school up to the community college. You can use our system for free, because what we thought is, we're here to serve the city, and if a 50-cent fare or 35-cent fare on your tap card keeps a student from being able to get on the bus and get to school and learn, then we should take that out of the way.
Okay, we're sitting here and we're originally talking about buses and bus routes, but LA Department of Transportation is a lot larger than that, and there are a lot of moving parts, ha ha ha, pun intended, but also other modes of transportation. The bikes. You have electric bikes that you're putting all over the city too. So how is that working out, and where are they going, and what have we learned?
Yeah, even though a lot of the electric scooter companies pulled up their fleets at the beginning of the pandemic, Metro's bike share system, which includes both electric bikes and regular bikes, stayed in operation. And that Metro bike share system is a partnership between the City of Los Angeles and LA Metro. And so what we found is that those electric bikes, if you compare them to the regular bikes, the electric bikes outperform the regular bikes by about 10 to 1. So people are going and checking out those electric bikes, and they really love them. And so now our goal is to figure out how can we expand that and make the whole fleet electric, and how can we go even one step further than that. And we've actually put in a grant application to make those bikes free. But we know a bike is only as good as the infrastructure that's out there and as safe as you and I feel riding it. And what definitely makes us feel safer is protected bike lanes. And we built about 100 miles cumulatively if you add up all of the new bike lanes, upgraded bike lanes, and bus lanes that we put in. And so we hope that's a magic combination to kind of keep those habits going. If people found that they really loved riding the bike and they've wanted to sort of make that more permanent part of their lifestyle, that we want to set the table so that that can happen.
So you have your beautiful charging stations here for your buses, but there are a lot of people who would like to have electric vehicles and not sit in front of a 7-Eleven and charge their vehicles for a while because they can't find a charging station. So
Right.
How is that whole partnership working out, and what are the plans for those charging stations?
Yeah, so we've worked with the Bureau of Street Lighting to put in quite a few chargers around the city. But what we're doing now is we actually have a program. It's a public-private partnership called BlueLA.
Okay.
And what BlueLA is a fleet of electric vehicles that anybody can use an app on their phone and book and go use for a period of time. So it works sort of like a very short-term rental where you're using it for 30 minutes, using it for an hour, maybe a little bit more. You don't own a car, or maybe you don't want to buy a second car, but you need one on occasion. And so that's what these vehicles are there for. And LA actually has the largest program of its kind in the country, which is really focused in low-income neighborhoods. And so what we did is work with community-based organizations and neighborhood groups to design a program that would work for the things that they need. And so people do all kinds of stuff with those vehicles that we never could have anticipated. They have their caregivers on their family account so that they can go fill prescriptions for the older adults that they're taking care of. There are even some of those vehicles that get used by younger folks who are using them to drive for one of those tech platforms. So they don't actually have to buy and own a car, and they can still get access to that sort of form of work, which we wouldn't have necessarily anticipated.
While you're telling me about all these Jetson kind of things that are going to be part of our future here in Los Angeles, very realistically, we're looking at the Olympics. You know, so what are all the plans there?
The beauty of the plans for the 28 games really is that it mostly takes advantage of things that we were going to do anyway, because the vision for the 28 games, and really anybody that comes to LA before then, is that it is easy, seamless, affordable, reliable, and dignified to get around LA without a car. And our job is to first put all of those parts together, make sure all those programs exist, BlueLA and bike share and EV buses, and then to make sure they're coordinated, that, you know, we're the kind of symphony conductor to make sure that all of the different instruments are harmonizing, and to make sure that those things are as easy to access as the other things that you are accustomed to using your smartphone to get access to.
Okay, so two pieces of information that people can easily access, both of them, one kind of being the app, which is
LADOTbus.com and LADOTtransit.com.
This is fascinating, and your buses are beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad that we coordinated in terms of our presentation of your beautiful new zero-emission buses.
You're a natural, Maria. You're a natural. We would love to have you on our buses anytime.
You've got a
especially
deal.
if you're coordinated.
There you go. Well, it was really fun to talk. Thank you so much, Seleta.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And that's a wrap on this LA Currents.